Good morning, everybody. Sherry here, making my second video today. I want to start right off with my stats. My high weight was 320. My pre-surgery weight was 307.4. And my last official weigh-in was for my 6 weeks post-op. That was this past Wednesday. And I was down to 277.4, which is a 30-pound loss. I'm trying to stay off that scale until this next Wednesday, and that way I can just do once a week weigh-ins. So anyway, I've lost 30 pounds so far. I feel like I'm doing great, feeling great. So I wanted to come to you today with a subject that is really kind of a big deal to me. As I was preparing for my weight loss surgery and even in the decision-making process of whether or not I wanted to have it, I watched a lot of YouTube videos from people who had had weight loss surgery. And one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit was that I would watch these what I eat in a day videos, and a lot of them, I just felt like some of it was a little bit unrealistic. Here I am having just pulled through McDonald's and ate a cheeseburger and fries, okay? And, trying to gear up for this surgery, right? And I'm watching these videos and somebody would say, I had, 1 ounce of grilled chicken or 2 ounces of grilled chicken and 3 baby carrots. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. And I'm sitting there eating my cheeseburger and fries and going, this does not sound very realistic. Now, I knew that I needed to make some changes. I knew that, but I thought there's got to be a happy medium somewhere. So today I want to talk about keeping it real after weight loss surgery. Not having an all or nothing mentality. And so let's fast forward. I did have the surgery on May 15th of 2018. And so I had the surgery. Of course, the first couple of days I didn't feel like eating anyway. It was great. I didn't have an appetite. Of course, I was nauseous, so that wasn't great. But, I was just, I wasn't worried about food at that point. But once I started, adding things back in, my surgeon's program is very progressive. He does not have you on liquids except for the first week. And then you start adding softs in, and at my 2-week post-op appointment, he cleared me to try whatever I wanted to try, obviously trying to stick with the plan. But he just basically told me he didn't feel like there was any food that would be an off-limits thing for me as far as upsetting my sleep, because I had tolerated everything else up to that point very well. And so I kind of gradually started adding things in. And of course, I'm following the guidelines. I'm not eating and drinking at the same time. I have kissed carbonation goodbye, and I feel like that's a forever thing, especially for me. Some people add that back in, and there's no judgment here. This is a no judgment zone. And by the way, also a no food police zone. But so I used to drink a wild cherry Pepsi at least one a day, sometimes 2. So that's just something that for me, I knew that I had to give it up. Just not even like leave room for maybe a sip or 2 now and then, because I knew that would be a slippery slope for me. So I'm following these other guidelines that are set forth for us. But one thing I kind of started struggling with once I was adding solid foods back in was the low carbs. I have tried every diet known to man, let me tell you, and I would follow it to a T for whatever time period I was on it. But then when I would get off of that diet, let's say I had a vacation, or I would plan up to this certain event to lose this amount by doing this diet, and then I would gain it back and then some, because it's like I was feeling so deprived. I wanted everything in sight at that point. And so I just knew that that's not a healthy way. I just didn't know, where to strike that balance and how to find that balance. And so what happened was kind of about 3 weeks post-op, I had been, doing my best to stay under the number of carbs that my nutritionist set for me. And, you know, the calories, they had told me between 400 and 800 calories. And, you know, I was doing my best to kind of stay within that, but I had a couple of days where I thought, oh my word, I want some real food here. You know, I was craving everything in sight. And I just got to thinking, you know, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You know, I can, in moderation. Now, obviously we have to be honest with ourselves, you know, if we have trigger foods, things like that. But I just thought, this does not feel sustainable for me. And I was getting to the ugly, hungry point where it was just about to be a free-for-all. And I'm like, okay, that is not good. I did not come this far. I did not have this surgery, you know, to not be successful. And so I realized that, you know, I had this diet mentality about it, and I was following the rules and I was following the plan, tracking everything, doing all of these things that they tell us to do. But I was feeling very deprived. So I went ahead and I started adding a little bit more carbs back in. You know, I post on some of the groups for, you know, bariatric patients, and oh my word, if you want to get the food police coming after you, sirens blazing, lights on, just mention that you've had bread or that you've had a tortilla or anything that has carbs in it, and oh my word, they come after you immediately. And here's the thing, there are some people that low carb, that may work for you. You may be able to sustain that. That may be doable for you. But for me, I was really, really struggling. And so I started adding a few things back in. I tried, you know, like the flat out wraps, you know, things like that. And I was just eating small portions. And of course, my doctor's office even had on my list that you could have toast and things. And then, you know, once you're a little bit further out, you can have just regular bread. Well, I knew that I was tolerating everything just fine. And so I kind of, you know, I would have half a sandwich and I would post it. And oh my word, the food police would go crazy. But I was finding that I was feeling more satisfied and that I wasn't wanting everything. Like when I'm driving down the street past all these fast food restaurants, I wasn't getting the urge to pull in because what I was eating felt like it was satisfying me. And, you know, I'm still eating nutritious things. I'm not eating a ton of junk food. As a matter of fact, one thing that my husband and I both made a pact about before I had the surgery is just to get the junk food out. There are certain things that neither one of us can have in the house, or they will be gone within a day. I'm not the kind of person that can eat 1 or 2 Oreos and then put the package away. That's just not me. So we're not going to bring it in the house. Now, is that saying I'm never going to have an Oreo again? No. You know, if I'm somewhere else, or if I'm at a potluck, if there's a dessert or something, I'll have a bite or two of something. But it's just, I can't have that stuff in the house because I can't control it. And I know that about myself. And so that's like kind of a hard rule for me, just because I know myself. And so that's the thing. We all have to be able to honestly reflect and know what our triggers are, know what things can be a slippery slope for us, and, you know, adjust accordingly. So, you know, I do have half a sandwich. I don't have every day. I would say I probably have a half a sandwich maybe 2 days a week, something like that. You know, other times I'll have some leftovers of something very healthy that I've cooked. I have completely changed the way that I cook. I use some old recipes and I've kind of tried to make them a little bit healthier. And I've tried a ton of new recipes that are lower in carbs. You know, I'm not trying to get back up to where I'm having 300 carbs a day like I did pre-surgery. And my portion sizes, you know, are still small. But I have added, you know, some carbs back in and I just feel so much better. I feel like I have more energy and I feel like I'm way more satisfied. And it's not hindered my weight loss. That's the important thing as well. You know, some of us may be able to add certain things back in and not hinder or slow down our weight loss, or at least not by much. And others, if you would do that, maybe it would completely stop you and you would go into a stall. So I can't speak for anyone else. I just know that for me, this feels like it was the right thing. And I'm really trying to focus on doing kind of the 80-20 rule loosely, to where, you're really eating, good, healthy, wholesome foods. But if I decide that I want something in a small portion, or if we're out to eat at my favorite restaurant, I've decided I'm not ordering a grilled chicken breast with broccoli every time I go out. I eat a lot of chicken and broccoli at home. But when I go out, if I have this favorite dish at a restaurant, you know what? I'm ordering that baby. And I'm going to have a small portion of it. I'm going to track it. It's going to fit within my day, macro-wise and calorie-wise, but I'm going to have it. And so I feel like, to me, that is the key to avoid deprivation and to have a plan that's sustainable for the rest of our lives. I can't imagine going for the rest of my life not having certain things, like just cutting them completely out. It just does not feel sustainable. And so anyway, that for me is what I've decided to do. Now, I know that some people, they'll be like real hardcore and just cut out certain things, during just the 6-month honeymoon period or the year period. But for me, once again, that just felt way more like a diet, less like a lifestyle. One of my favorite Weight Watcher leaders said something that really stuck with me, and I feel like it applies here. She said, don't do anything now or give up anything now that you're not willing to either do or give up for the rest of your life. And that really stuck with me because, we're creating habits. This is a new way of life for us. And so I've really, really tried to take that to heart. And I'll just tell y'all, giving up the wild cherry Pepsi, that was huge for me. But that was something I felt like was an obstacle that was standing in the way of me getting healthy. And with all of the health issues that I have, to me, that was like one thing. I'm like, okay, I can give up this one thing. And so I did. And it's settled for me. I just know that I'm not having it. I just know that. But I'm going to have some carbs. I'm going to have some other things that I enjoy in moderation and occasionally. If you are considering weight loss surgery, you don't have to do what everybody else does. It doesn't have to be that rigid. Now, I always recommend that you follow whatever guideline your doctor has given you. Like I said, I don't want to mess with your plan, but it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's very doable. I feel like I am in a place right now that I am enjoying my food when I eat. I'm enjoying life. Food doesn't necessarily feel like the center of my life anymore, but I do still get excited when we're going to one of my favorite restaurants. But it's more of a treat now. It's not, like I'm having something every single day. But anyway, I've kind of got rambly here. I'm sorry about that. I'm still learning on this whole YouTube thing. I'm sure that I'll get better as time goes on. But I want to thank you for watching, and I encourage you to get started. We're all individuals. You can do it your way. I do recommend following guidelines, but we can tweak it, and we can tailor it to our own life. And so anyway, I appreciate you all watching. I encourage you not to give up. If you're on the plan, if you're feeling deprived, maybe start doing, maybe talk to your nutritionist about maybe upping your carbs a little bit, or, making some small changes that could help you, feel like it's sustainable. And so I'm going to leave you with that. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.